The crystal glasses clinked as my father raised his champagne for yet another toast, celebrating my younger brother Michael's promotion. The elegant dining room of our family home buzzed with excitement as relatives gathered around, hanging on his every word about becoming the youngest VP in his company's history. I sat quietly at the far end of the table, pushing my food around my plate. At 32, I was the family disappointment, the one who had wasted my business degree by starting my own consulting firm instead of joining the prestigious family company, Thompson Industries. To Michael, my father's voice boomed, following in my footsteps, taking Thompson Industries to new heights. This is what real success looks like. The pointed comment wasn't so. I caught my mother's sideways glance, filled with that familiar mix of pity and disappointment. 10 years ago, when I announced I was striking out on my own, she'd have cried for days, lamenting how I was throwing away my future. Speaking of success, my Aunt Margaret chimed in, wine glass swaying dangerously in her hand. Olivia, dear, are you still doing that? What do you call it? Freelance thing? I straightened my shoulders, maintaining my composure. Yes, I run my own consulting firm. We specialize in corporate restructuring and financial strategy. A dismissive laugh cut through the air. Consulting? My father scoffed. A fancy word for being unemployed. Tell me, how many clients do you actually have? Before I could respond, Michael jumped in with his trademark smirk. Come on, Dad, be nice. I'm sure Olivia helps lots of small businesses with their bookkeeping or whatever. The table erupted in poorly concealed laughter. I gripped my fork tighter, thinking of the contracts sitting on my desk, the international clients whose names would make everyone at this table gasp. But they didn't deserve to know about LR Consulting Group, the company I had built from nothing into one of the most selective firms in the industry. You know, my father continued, swirling his expensive bourbon, Thompson Industries is always looking for entry-level positions. Even at your age, we might find something suitable. That was it, the final straw. 10 years of condescension, of being treated like a failure because I chose my own path, crashed over me in a wave of cold clarity. I placed my napkin on the table and stood up. Thank you for dinner, I said calmly, and congratulations, Michael. I hope your promotion brings you everything you deserve. My mother's face fell. Olivia, don't be dramatic. Your father is trying to help. No, I replied, my voice steady. He's trying to control me, just like always. But here's what none of you understand. I don't need your help. I never did. My father's face darkened with anger. Sit down, Olivia. This behavior just proves how worthless your so-called independence has made you. You're nothing without this family. The dining room fell silent. I looked at each face around the table, the relatives who had dismissed me, the brother who had overshadowed me, the parents who had never believed in me. In that moment, I felt nothing but pity for them. Worthless, I repeated softly. We'll see about that. I walked out without another word, ignoring my mother's calls to come back. As I drove home to my penthouse apartment, the one my family knew nothing about, I couldn't help but smile, because what none of them realized was that in exactly 2 weeks, Thompson Industries would be facing its biggest crisis in 40 years, and I was the only one who could save them. Back in my office the next morning, I reviewed the confidential files my team had compiled. Thompson Industries was in serious trouble, though they were desperately trying to hide it. A series of failed international expansions had left them hemorrhaging money, their stock was quietly plummeting, and their biggest client, Jensen Global, was threatening to pull their $100 million contract. My father's arrogance had blinded him to the corruption in his upper management. His precious golden child, Michael, was too inexperienced to see the warning signs. Within months, the company would collapse unless someone stepped in with a miracle solution. That miracle had a name, Project Phoenix, a complete restructuring strategy that my firm had spent 6 months developing. We had already positioned ourselves as the only viable solution, working through shell companies and subsidiaries to ensure the Thompson family never saw my name. Tomorrow, Thompson Industries would receive the contract that could save them. The only catch? They'd have to agree to give complete control to the mysterious CEO of Abigar Consulting Group. I picked up my phone and dialed my assistant. Sarah, is everything ready for tomorrow's meeting? Yes, Miss Walker, the contracts are prepared, and the Thompson Industries board has confirmed their attendance. They're desperate to meet the CEO who might save their company. I smiled, thinking of my father's words from dinner, worthless, nothing without the family. Perfect, I replied. Make sure the photographer is ready. I want to capture their faces when they realize exactly who they'll be begging for help. The next 2 weeks would change everything. My family thought they were attending a standard board meeting to discuss the company's future. Instead, they were walking into the carefully laid trap I had spent years preparing. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served with a legally binding contract and an ironclad signature line that reads, Olivia Walker, CEO of LR Consulting Group. They were about to learn that the daughter they dismissed had become the most powerful person in their world, and I was going to savor every moment of their realization. The morning of the board meeting dawned bright and clear. I stood in my private office on the top floor of the building, adjusting my tailored suit and watching the city come alive below. In 2 hours, my family would walk through those doors, not knowing they were entering my domain. Miss Walker, Sarah appeared in the doorway. Your father and brother have arrived early. They're waiting in the main conference room. I checked my reflection one last time. Gone was the quiet, dismissed daughter from the family dinner. Today, I was Olivia Walker, CEO of Abigar Consulting Group, ranked among the top 50 most influential businesswomen in America. How do they seem? I asked, gathering my files. Nervous. Your father's been pacing, and Michael keeps adjusting his tie. They have no idea who's about to walk in. I smiled. Let them wait. Has Jensen Global confirmed? Yes, their CEO is on standby for the video call. He's quite eager to see how this plays out. Perfect. Jensen Global's $100 million contract wasn't just at stake. They were prepared to triple their investment if Thompson Industries accepted our terms that would give me controlling interest in my family's company. I took the private elevator to the conference floor, my heels clicking against marble as I approached the double doors. Through the frosted glass, I could see the silhouettes of the Thompson Industries board members. Time to make an entrance. The room fell silent as I walked in. My father stopped mid-sentence, his face draining of color. Michael's mouth hung open, his new VP pin glinting uselessly on his lapel. The other board members looked confused, glancing between me and my family. Good morning, gentlemen, I said calmly, taking my place at the head of the table. I'm Olivia Walker, CEO of Abigar Consulting Group. Shall we begin? This is impossible, my father sputtered, his usual authority crumbling. You run a small consulting business? I raised an eyebrow. Do I? Sarah, please pull up our company portfolio. The screens around the room lit up with Abigar's global presence, our offices in 15 countries, our client list of Fortune 500 companies, our successful restructuring of major corporations. The board members leaned forward, clearly impressed. My father's face grew increasingly pale. As you're all aware, I continued professionally, Thompson Industries is facing a crisis. Your international expansion has failed, resulting in losses of over $200 million. Your stock has dropped 40% in 6 months, and Jensen Global is prepared to pull their contract unless drastic changes are made. Michael jumped up. How do you know all this? This is confidential information. Because, dear brother, we've been watching your company's decline for months. In fact, we've been carefully positioning ourselves as your only viable solution. I nodded to Sarah, who distributed thick folders to everyone present. Inside, you'll find our complete analysis of Thompson Industries' situation, along with our proposed restructuring strategy. We call it Project Phoenix. The board members flipped through the documents with growing excitement. Even my father couldn't hide his interest as he read the detailed plan that would save his company. This is brilliant, one board member muttered. The international repositioning, the debt restructuring, the new technology integration, it's exactly what we need. Of course it is, I replied. We've spent 6 months developing it, but our help comes with conditions. My father's eyes snapped up to meet mine. He knew what was coming, he just didn't want to believe it. Abigar Consulting Group will take a controlling interest in Thompson Industries, will restructure the board, implement new management protocols, and oversee all major decisions for the next 5 years. The room erupted in chaos. Board members argued among themselves. Michael looked like he might faint, and my father's face turned an alarming shade of red. You can't do this, he growled. This is my company, I built it from nothing. I leaned forward, my voice steady, and now you're watching it crumble. Your choice is simple, accept our help and save the company, or refuse and watch it collapse within months. As if on cue, the main screen lit up with an incoming video call. Ah, perfect timing, I said. Gentlemen, please welcome Edward Jensen, CEO of Jensen Global. The distinguished face of Edward Jensen appeared on screen. James, he addressed my father, I trust you've reviewed Abigar's proposal? Ms. Walker's firm has my complete confidence. In fact, if you accept their terms, We're prepared to triple our current contract. My father's jaw clenched. He was trapped, and he knew it. The board members were already nodding eagerly. Tripling the Jensen contract would save hundreds of jobs and restore investor confidence. We'll need your answer now, I said, sliding the contract across the table. Time is running out, and we have other potential clients waiting. The room grew quiet as my father stared at the contract. His hand shook slightly as he picked up the pen. 10 years of dismissing me, of calling me worthless, of treating me like a failure, all of it had led to this moment. Sign it, Dad, Michael whispered urgently. We don't have a choice. My father's signature was barely legible, but it was legally binding. As soon as the contract was signed, Sarah began distributing press releases announcing OW's acquisition of controlling interest in Thompson Industries. Excellent. I stood up, gathering my files. The transition team will arrive tomorrow. Michael, you'll be reassigned to our West Coast office. Entry-level position. Of course, we need someone to handle the bookkeeping. My brother's face turned crimson as his own words from the family dinner were thrown back at him. And, Dad, I paused at the door, savoring the moment. I believe this makes me your boss. Don't worry, I'm sure we can find something suitable for someone of your experience. The look of shock on his face was worth every moment of the past 10 years. As I walked out, I heard one board member whisper, "Did you know his daughter was Olivia Walker?" I smiled, remembering my father's words from 2 weeks ago, worthless, nothing without the family. How wrong he had been. Back in my office, I poured myself a glass of champagne and gazed out at the city skyline. My phone buzzed, a message from my mother. "Olivia, please, your father is devastated. This isn't how families should treat each other." I laughed softly, typing my response. "You're right, Mom. Families shouldn't call each other worthless. Families shouldn't dismiss each other's dreams. Families shouldn't need a contract to show respect. But here we are." I turned off my phone and raised my glass to my reflection. The quiet daughter they had dismissed had become the most powerful person in their world. And this was just the beginning. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's becoming so successful that they have to face how wrong they were, all by themselves. Tomorrow would be my first official day as the controlling shareholder of Thompson Industries. I had 10 years of changes planned, starting with the company name. After all, Abdullah Industries had a much better ring to it. The worthless daughter had built an empire, and now they would all work for me.